Hi everyone, it was a new moon in Capricorn yesterday, January the 18th, and this is the 19th of January. So I looked at three astrologers. Pam Gregory particularly had quite a lot to say because it's quite a busy chart. She said the last Firehorse year, which is coming up this February the 17th, was in 1966. And in 66, 67, it was a very powerful cultural revolution time, human rights, gay rights, women's lib, that sort of thing. So it's, boding for a very intense, quite very busy year. She mentioned as well Uranus, Pluto in 65, 66. It's kind of almost key for July 2026. So kind of revolutionary feeling about this year, really, I think she's saying. And there will be a solar eclipse and Saturn-Neptune conjunction. So it's going to be, really busy. And really as well, possibly kind of more spiritual feeling as well. June, July, August may have been a taster last year for this February onwards, she thinks. And yeah, she said that Pluto 3 degrees of Aquarius, ascendant of China. China may become bigger. Also, she mentioned silver becoming bigger and more important. And there's like a connection with Saturn Neptune conjunct, a kind of Russia connection, redefinition of Russia, maybe some kind of peace deal that redefines Russia with what's going on at the moment politically out there. It's very interesting. And she thinks if you were born 52, 53, 59, that's 1952, etc., you will have a Saturn Neptune conjunct, and it's quite important. And cardinal signs might feel this as well: Aries, Cancer, Capricorn, Libra. And Neptune's in the final degree of Pisces till the 26th of January. And it has a really slow orbit. Last time it was, it's the last time really in 150 years. So it really signals a new order coming and the collapse of the old order, she thinks. There's quite a lot of connections with water, floods, maybe tsunami, etc. And there was quite a lot happening in Montana and California. And she thinks that might continue into 2026. It also links with media, drugs, dissolving of the veil and deception. And Neptune conjunct Saturn, dissolution of authority, and scandals and, structures like coming down. And we've had the Venezuela invasion as well, haven't we? She mentioned leaders losing their heads linked with a goal, but she thinks there's more to come with that. And Pam thought astrology chart is big for Venezuela, so it's interesting what happened. And 17th of February, there's a solar eclipse, 28 degrees of Sagittarius. It falls in the midheaven linked with France in Paris. So that was an astral cartography fact. Venus-Mars conjunct, she thinks that it's not visible as such. Things are happening behind the scenes and nothing is clear till February onwards. But Venus is visible in February. So the first week of February, things really start moving again. And Uranus is direct on the 4th of February, so we're likely all to feel that. Taurus is emerging, about emerging currencies, more tech, alternative friendship circles, that sort of thing, linked with Taurus. And the second half of January is a different energy and dynamism. And it was set up it's set up for July and the rest of 2026, she thinks. And the new moon was 1953 UK time, 28 degrees, 44 minutes of Capricorn. And there was an absolutely huge lineup of planets. And Pam thinks in Capricorn and Aquarius, the February Aquarian energy important. In April, there's a lineup in Aries. So Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, huge new beginnings. And Sun and Moon conjunct, and a new moon, planting new seeds at the moment, and Venus Mars conjunct sacred feminine and sacred masculine, and 6 planets are close, so really a giant conjunction going on, really. Capricorn links with the hierarchy and old structures and planning strategies, long-term things, reality check, getting real. And she also mentioned big banking links to a Capricorn, and things to do with cryptocurrency, either new centralized or decentralized, and some turbulence in the markets, and possibly a likely fundamental change. So she thought the Wall Street crash was that in the 1930s, I forget, but astrology is similar, she thinks. So watch out. There's all sorts going on politically, isn't there? So new moon conjunct Pluto, second house of the USA, she mentioned, which links with income and the dollar. All sorts happening, really, birthing new values. A stellium trine to Sedna, so a new state of being with long-term plans. What do we want to birth? And Mars operating well in Capricorn. And this stellium of Mars, Mercury, the new moon, Venus versus Mercury, Neptune. Hermia in Scorpio, she talked about kind of things to do with stem cells and curing blindness. I've seen stuff about that in the press, which is incredible. And astrology for 2026, she thinks it's jam-packed, basically. And on the 20th of Jan, Venus-Pluto conjunct, links with China ascendant. She thinks a change, money, control or possession in relationships. Like, do people want more freedom? And, they need to make choices about that. On the 22nd of January, Mercury conjunct with Pluto, 3 degrees of Aquarius. Powerful truth comes to light. Hidden secrets might come up, linking with Pluto. 23rd of January, Sun conjunct with Pluto. Power, freedom, links with human rights, civil rights, revolution. We've got so much going on. 26th, Neptune, first time fully at 0 degrees of Aries. And 27th, Mars exact conjunct Pluto, power. She thinks that's about power and brute force, a forceful day, on the 27th of January. And in the year of the fire horse as well. So earth, water, planets going to air and fire signs, and fast, furious sort of feeling. And that day on the 27th, moon conjunct Uranus, about people power, a very powerful day. So mark your calendars. And she thinks if anyone has fixed signs, 2 to 5 degrees of them, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, it's a very transformational year. So that's good news for me personally. Like a new birth type year. And also a huge energy shift, really going from 3D to 5D. If you want to know more about, 3-dimension to 5-dimension, do have a look on Google about that sort of thing, or, YouTube. But if you're hanging on to the old ways of doing things, basically, it's a bit like, she thinks, hanging on to driftwood. But we're moving more towards compassion and equality. So we need to kind of make the changes and adjust. We're on to Molly McCord. She thinks, on the 18th of January, how far have you come? What have you obtained? What are you mastering in the physical world? What have we developed? What have we moved through to have a new perspective? And what do we want to build? And if you think it's like 6 years on from 2019, 2020, early 2020, how did we adapt? Because it has changed. The whole world's changed. Things are changing. What do we want now? And the new earth values, what are we embodying? And what is practical that we can do? What is our mission? What is our purpose? New dreams. Going into new Aquarius season. And the new moon, she thinks, grounds us. So it's the last new moon before the February 17th solar eclipse and the eclipse season. And the new moon helps us remain practical and strategic. And Capricorn helps us observe and be a witness. And the last new moon, it's the last new moon really in the Chinese wood snake year. And February the 17th is the fire horse energy coming in. And that will be deeply transformative. The wooden snake was about kind of internal changes and molting the old skins. But this month we may observe what's been changed in us. So it's that final month of an intense kind of journey and transmutation. And Capricorn helps us stay strong. So maybe a bit of self-reflection is good, ready for the Chinese New Year and the fire horse energy on that 17th of February. And a new pace will come in really, and fresh energy. Neptune enters Aries and Saturn in Aries. So it really will kind of be a clearing. And then I looked a bit at Tanya Gabrielle, who's into numerology, etc. She said about it being the first new moon in 2026, but she sees it as a year of no return. And 28 degrees, the moon and divine feminine, so 28, because there's 28 days in a woman's cycle. It's kind of a pivot point, intuition as well, strong. And she talked about the stellium and the sextile, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Mars, Venus, Pluto, and the stellium with Aquarius. With Pluto has the Sun, Venus, Mars, Mercury. And there's so much going on, really. So, as you mentioned, a triangle being formed on the chart, and that Saturn merges with Neptune, 0 degree of Aries, February 20th. And February 20th, Neptune leaves Pisces. Saturn enters Aries, huge beginning, like powerful, and there's no playbook for it. So, 0 degrees Aries, fame, powerful rulers, and leaders may be, she sees it as being where that change is happening into Aries, that leaders may be martyrs. And it's going from the final degrees of Pisces, Neptune, into Aries, so into that first degree, and experience figures who are pioneers and who have a higher purpose, and almost like the alpha omega point. And Capricorn, she mentions, is pragmatic. It's about a steady path, step by step, doing things step by step, and a long-term positive result, and committing to the self and others, and a lot to do with work. And Saturn is linked with time as well, and Cronus, understanding events in our life, and being responsible and patient. The shadow side of Capricorn can be control, being very serious, taking loads of credit for things, being possibly pessimistic and a bit inflexible. So just bear those in mind. You might feel those a little bit come in. Mercury conjunct Mars, ideas become important, and thoughts. We may receive new ideas and breakthroughs. So happy new moon in Capricorn. Take care, and have a great start to this year. Bye for now.